We're now over halfway through Rankings Week here on the channel, where I am going through every position in basketball, ranking the top 10 players in the NBA at each spot. I post these rankings twice per year, once midway through the season and once in the off-season, because a lot tends to go down in between, and it's important to always adjust based on the new information presented to us. We're already done with the point guards, shooting guards, and small forwards in my last 3 videos, so make sure to go watch those if you missed them. But today, we're now going through the power forward position, which is a group filled with a strong combination of established superstars and young talent on the rise. Before we start though, it turns out a good amount of you watching right now aren't even subscribed to the channel, so if you enjoy the content, consider hitting the subscribe button, as not only does it help out a ton, but I also very much appreciate it. Now with that being said, let's begin. Before we get into the top 10, we'll start things off with a few honorable mentions that just missed the cut, and the players that fall into this category are Draymond Green, Aaron Gordon, and Kyle Kuzma. Draymond nowadays tends to make headlines for what comes out of his mouth more often than his play on the court, but he's still one of the best defenders in the entire NBA, and the Warriors paid him handsomely this summer to bring him back in free agency, because they know how important he is to their success. Aaron Gordon's two-way play shined bright during the Nuggets' run to the title this postseason as a very versatile defender, and offensively he benefits from Jokic's terrific passing talent as a slasher and cutter. Kyle Kuzma is coming off of his best individual season scoring the ball, but he could be a bit more efficient if he wants to crack the top 10. Now, to start things off at number 10, we have Paulo Bencaro of the Orlando Magic. Paulo is coming off of a season that culminated in him winning the Rookie of the Year award, and he's really still just getting started. He joined rare company this year, scoring 20 points per game as a rookie. His footwork and craftiness for someone as big and strong as he was on full display, and he hasn't even come close to reaching his ceiling yet, so he should be someone who shoots up this list over time. For now, though, he will need to improve his efficiency as an overall shooter, but all rookies tend to be inconsistent in that regard, and he has done more than enough to instill confidence in a second season breakout. Next, at number 9, we have Jeremy Grant of the Portland Trail Blazers. There wasn't much that went well for the Trail Blazers last season, but Grant having the best season of his career was one of the few things on that list. Grant has made a name for himself for being a guy who defends hard and is very switchable and versatile, but his offensive game has really come a long way over the last few years. It all culminated in a season last year where he averaged about 21 points, shooting the ball 48% from the field and 40% from 3, making him one of the most efficient scorers in that range. His two-way play got him paid a very hefty contract this offseason, locking him back into Portland for 5 more years. Up next at number 8, we have Evan Mobley of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Mobley in 2 seasons has emerged as someone who you should probably expect to be named to the league's all-defense team year in and year out. The Cavaliers finished as the number 1 ranked defense in the league regular season-wise, and Mobley's work as a rim protector, help defender, and mobile perimeter defender, when needed, was the core of that dominance. If he wants to continue rising and take his game to the next level, he's going to need to develop more as a scorer, because his inability to create his own offense was really exposed in the playoffs, but for now, he's still an incredibly impactful player at the 4 spot. Next up at number 7, we have Julius Randle of the New York Knicks. Randle is someone who is capable of so much more, but when he's needed the most, he has consistently shrunk. He's now a 2-time member of the All-NBA teams, both in 2021 and this past season, but he's followed those nominations up with really poor playoff showings. Randle is a guy putting up 25 points and 10 rebounds per game in the regular season, but when the playoffs roll around, he's, without any exaggeration, one of the worst star playoff performers of the last decade. This postseason, while the Knicks team around him was battling hard, he was shooting the ball 37% from the field and 26% from 3. So while he is one of the best power forwards in the league, he's also one of the hardest to trust. Up next at number 6, we have Jaren Jackson Jr. of the Memphis Grizzlies. Jaren, like Mobley, is the one anchoring things in the middle for a defense that ranked top 3 this past season. Jaren also led the league in blocks for a second season in a row. He has unbelievable defensive instincts, protecting the rim and rotating to help when necessary, and offensively, he's starting to come into his own as a secondary scoring option. He's much more fluid with the ball in his hands, getting to the basket and finishing around the rim now, and his 3-ball falls at around a league average clip, so all in all, he's pretty important to the success of a team that has finished top 2 in the Western Conference standings back-to-back years. Up next at number 5, we have Laurie Morgan of the Utah Jazz. Morgan was drafted as a player with so much offensive potential, but for years he struggled to consistently reach that potential. When he got traded to Utah last year, he was finally unleashed, and we saw him at his very best. Morgan last year exploded across the board, averaging nearly 26 points per game while shooting the ball very well, making 50% of his shots and 39% of his threes. As a 7-footer, he's one of the craftiest shot creators at his size and can easily pull up and shoot from all 3 levels. Up next at number 4, we have Pascal Siakam of the Toronto Raptors. Siakam comes back every year much improved at something, whether it be his shot creation, his passing, or his defense, and now he's one of the most well-balanced two-way players at the position. Siakam plays great defense, and he does it while also stuffing the stat sheet, averaging about 24 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. When he gets going in transition, he is a matchup nightmare, and his name has been sneakily popping up on the trade block lately because he's the kind of player that could go to any contender and immediately make them better. Up next at number 3, we have Zion Williamson of the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, I fully realize this may seem like too high of a ranking for someone that can't stay on the court, but I simply cannot ignore how good he actually is when he is healthy and playing. To start the season off, he had the Pelicans sitting atop the Western Conference standings, while he was scoring 26 points per game, shooting a ridiculous 61% from the field. But then, when he got injured, the team fell off hard, missing the playoffs altogether, demonstrating just how valuable he truly is. When he's healthy, he is easily a top 3 player at the position. It's just that he hasn't been healthy nearly long enough to fully convince some people. Next up at number 2, we have Kevin Durant of the Phoenix Suns. Durant has been one of the best players in the league for over a decade now, so when you click onto lists like this, there should be no surprises seeing his name near the top. He's still one of the best scorers in the entire NBA, putting up 29 points per game while shooting the ball ridiculously efficiently. He's still one of the toughest covers and biggest mismatches in the league, and when he gets going, he can be as good as anybody. He's another player that has been struggling quite a bit with injuries over the last few years though, so going into this upcoming season, his top priority will be staying on the court to give the Suns a good chance to go all the way because they are the favorites in many people's eyes. And finally, at number 1 on today's list, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis' season may have ended on a sour note, going down in history on the wrong kind of way by losing to an 8 seed as the 1 seed, but he admittedly wasn't at full strength battling through a back injury, and he's done more than enough to solidify himself in this top spot. He's an MVP winner, he's a Finals MVP, he's a Defensive Player of the Year winner, and he finished in the top 5 scoring this past season, putting up 31 points per game. Giannis is as dominant as it gets at full strength and is still in the middle of his prime. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below how you would rank the power forwards right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.